Hello everyone, welcome to the Pulp and Pigment Facebook Live. I am Ian and I'll be doing sketching techniques using the Winsor & Newton Studio Collection. That includes the fine liner, graphite, and watercolor pencils on Canson CA grain paper. Before we start, I invite you to visit Pulp and Pigment store here in San Juan to avail their exclusive birthday sale discounts for as big as 70% off starting tomorrow. To start, I'll be showing you some of the materials that we will be using today. So, the paper that we will be using would be Canson grain, A grain. So, this is good for sketching, charcoal, and watercolor. It is 180 grams per square meter. So, you have them in several kinds of sizes. You have the 9x12, you have the A5, then you also have them as big as A3. This is very good for different kinds of mixed media application. We will be also using the Winsor & Newton fine liners. This is part of the studio collection. So I have here several points that we can use. This is point 1, point 3, point 8, and point 5. We also have here the Winsor & Newton Studio Collection sketching pencils. Let's open these up. So this is the sketching set. You have here 8B pencil and 4B with white charcoal, sepia, hard charcoal, and medium charcoal. Comes in this beautiful pack. Also, we have here so this is the 24 colors. This also comes in smaller sets. You can get them for as low as 595 pesos per set. Our pencil sketching collection is starts at 650 pesos. There. So you have there. These are the colors of the Winsor & Newton colored pencils. Now let's just have a quick trial of some of these materials. So the results. 4B would be dark enough to give you this amount of shading. Graphite is naturally used as a basic sketching tool. That's the 4B. We also have the 8B. 8B is darker. It contains less clay and more graphite. 8B. Of course, we also have here sepia. Sepia is one of my favorite colors in sketching. It gives you that color similar to a dark brown. Did you see that? The Canson paper gives you that texture, very good for sketching. Hard charcoal. Charcoal, on the other hand, doesn't give a sheen when reflected by light. Medium charcoal. So there are different kinds of charcoal available. So we have here the hard charcoal, especially for the details, and the medium charcoal, best for the main parts of the sketch. Now, let's try to check the different Winsor & Newton fine liners. So we have here a point 1. Moving on, let's have this point 8 over here. So you can see there's a good range of points and darkness there. So let's try to quickly swatch our pencils. Of course, we won't be... These are watercolor pencils. Watercolor pencils are best if you use them both ways. You can use them either in a dry form. This is yellow. These pencils have names on them. Yellow. Then you have sunflower, so that you can easily remember the colors that you use for your sketches. And then we have here orange. So the first part of our live for today is just trying out the materials first. Mandarin. These are fairly good pencils. They smell really good. The wood is good, and it feels very good on the hand. This is red, beautiful red. Currently, we're using them as sketching pencils. This is carmine. You have rose pink. More than often, if you're buying or getting a new art material, the best thing to check, especially if you're getting any kind of paint or any kind of tools, is that you check if you have a healthy mix of colors that gives you the primary and secondary colors. So we have here the soft peach, pastel pink, and now the plum. The plum is a good color. Midnight blue. I often like a good dark blue in my set of pencils and paint. This one is true blue, vibrant blue, there. And then you have royal blue, ice gray. Ice gray is somewhat, it has this hint of a cool tone. And then you have azure, which means also blue. Okay. Turquoise. Turquoise. Did you know that turquoise is actually named turquoise because it's a color that originated from Turkey? If you are joining us today live, please put your comments down below. If you have any questions, I'll try to answer it. Or if you have any questions regarding the price or the sale event, we will try to answer it as soon as we can. So for the links, especially if you need yung pin of the store, there. This is grass. This one is olive green. Olive green. Olive green is another color that I love. It gives you that beautiful earthy green. Now this is caramel. Oh, caramel looks good, especially with olive green. And then we have umber. Don't you just love the sound of pencil scratching on the paper whenever you sketch? Burnt sienna, one of my favorite browns. And we also have black. Since these kinds of pencils are actually watercolored pencils, we can actually try to wet them using a brush, a moist brush, and just check whether the colors would be very different or the same. See that? The color tends to be brighter when used with a brush. The brush I'm using is an Escoda travel brush. You can also check this out from the Pulp and Pigment website. So a watercolor pencil gives off a different shade and tint whenever you wet them. So it's better to do a swatching of any of your paints, pencils, and art materials before you use all of them, so that you'll realize what colors you have in your stash. Because sometimes we tend to buy different kinds of colors, not knowing we already have a color like that. Of course, always remember, watercolor tends to dry a little bit lighter than when it is wet. So try to adjust the amount of color that you put on paper. Try to paint a little darker than what you want when using watercolor or water-soluble medium. There you go. The paper again that I'm using here is a Canson A grain. It's good for mixed media works, and this is a light watercoloring. Of course, Canson has a good range of different kinds of paper. If you like to check them out, they come in different kinds of watercolor paper. You also have black paper, craft paper, sketching paper, different kinds of paper. So that's the first part of our Facebook Live. The next part, we will try to sketch different kinds of things now. So we'll be starting our sketch now. You can either get a reference guide for you to start a sketch. A sketch is usually a very fast kind of drawing. We'll try to sketch different things and then try to sketch like in a collage manner in our paper. So we're still using the Canson CA grain for today. You can either have things printed like this. I usually have these kinds of reference whenever I sketch, especially when I'm doing flowers or fauna that I'm not very familiar with, so that I have the right shapes, right patterns, like that. And then I also have my sketchbook with me more than often, and then I sketch there, so that whenever I do another piece like this, that equips me into doing those things. So we'll start with creating a center part over here. Of course, if you're sketching something, you don't have to be very exact. It could be a quick representation of those things. I'll be using a colored pencil to sketch this one. So I'll start with the caramel color over here. So everything. So as you can see here, what I like about this fine liner is that it's actually a very smooth fine liner that you can use on paper. You can still feel that you have this tip brushing through the textured paper of Canson CA grain, and yet it doesn't have any problems with the flow of the ink. And of course, it comes in this classy gray color. Okay, so mostly I do this technique right here. It's slowly building up the texture over here. To check your image, you can put it upside down so I can see some of the nuisance that I'm doing right there. So for this one, I'll be using first the reds. Okay, so same as the other one, I'm trying to create a sketch similar to the flow of the lines over here. If you want your lines to be retained, of course, sketch with a bit of pressure on the paper. Later on, we will be using these over again, the previously colored part when it dries. So at the moment, I'm just laying out the colors, the foundation for our sketch. So there. Now the magic begins when you add water into these things. So let's just add a little bit of water to the parts. So I want this to look as if it's similar to a sketch that you see usually in fashion magazines. Those kinds of editorials. See? The color tends to be brighter whenever you wet it with water. Again, always remember to have fun whenever you're sketching. It's one of the best things you can do when you are doing art. It's to have fun. Now let's add some small details using our Liquitex acrylic ink. I'll be using this as this tin as a mixing plate. Don't worry, it would you can easily clean it later on because it's a non-porous surface. You can just peel it out after. So this is the Liquitex acrylic ink, iridescent bright gold. Okay, make sure that you have, this is the ink. It's also acrylic, so it functions similar to acrylic. It's water based, and when it's wet, you can still add things, add other acrylic ink colors. You have several kinds of acrylic ink available in the store. Now I'll be adding just a small circular detail over here. So again, this is a sketching using the newest Winsor & Newton collection. The Studio collection offers different kinds of sketching tools, and it ranges from colored pencils, watercolored pencils. You also have fine liners, all of the beautiful art materials you can use for crafts, for your studio work, everything. With that actually ends our sketch today. Make sure that you clean your brush after using this. Don't forget, set your alarm clocks, and be sure to follow Pulp and Pigment PH on Facebook and Instagram to know more about their upcoming Big Brands birthday sale blowout starting tomorrow. And don't forget our special treat for everyone who watched this live. We have a voucher for you that you can use. That is the birthday sale. So the voucher code is birthday sale. If you shop in Pulp and Pigment website, that is www.pulpandpigmentph, and you can enjoy 50% off for a minimum purchase spend of 1,500. So you can use that from today until July 18 midnight. This is Ian DJ Raven Fox 13. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the social media pages of Pulp and Pigment. That would be on Facebook, it's Pulp and Pigment PH, and then you have in Instagram Pulp and Pigment PH. Of course, go to their website right now. It's Pulp and Pigment PH. Big brands blowout up to 70% off. So thank you so much to everyone who has joined us today. I hope you enjoyed this fun, quick, and happy way of sketching using different kinds of materials, ranging from the sketching pencils, watercolor pencils, the fine liners of Winsor & Newton, and of course using Canson CA grain paper that can handle different kinds of medium, from sketching medium, markers, and watercolor. So happy birthday, Pulp and Pigment Store, and thank you so much. Feel free to check their website right after this live. Thank you for watching and staying with us, and see you again soon. Bye-bye, and have a beautiful weekend. Thank you. Bye.